Hey everybody, we're back. Welcome to the Life, Love, and Existential Dread podcast. My name's Bryan Arata. I'm a film composer in Los Angeles. My co-host, co-creator, co-founder, and Coca-Cola drinker, Nathan Shelton on the other end, back from Mexico. How you doing, Nathan?
I am back from Mexico.
Okay.
That's about it. I miss my wife.
That's significant.
She's still in Mexico. I loved being in Mexico with her. I get back here and it's freezing. Although today it's quite nice in Chicago. We were out and about, my kids and I today. So it was nice. But yeah, I'm back. That's really it. I'm back. I've been in Mexico for almost a month and it was a great time. Missed you, buddy. I did have my birthday while I was there. We celebrated our anniversary while I was there. Got a new tattoo with my wife while I was there to celebrate our anniversary, and had a blast. But yeah, now I'm back. And you sent me an incredibly nice video while I was there, and everybody, I mean, my wife had organized this really cool thing where everybody, sent a birthday message to me because it's my 40th birthday. And so people were like sending me 40 by 40, things, and everybody needed to have like a minute long video. It was very touching. I cried. I had some great messages, but one of the best messages on the thing, arguably the best message on the entire thing, was your message to me, which you had written a rap video and performed it, and it killed. And I'm glad you put it out all over the internet. I got a great review, or great exposure on TikTok. Yeah, response. Thank you. Got great response on TikTok, on the Facebooks, on the Instagrams, and everybody I've shown it to loves it. And they're like, "Oh my God, who is this guy?" And I'm like, "Oh, you don't know my friend Bryan?" It's so funny.
This guy shouldn't be rapping, but he is.
That's what's so funny about it.
Yeah. And what my first instinct was, I was just going to play this super elaborate piano version arrangement of the Happy Birthday song. And so it's just obnoxious, just flying around the keyboard, just notes. And I was like, that's not enough, or a little too cliche just with the Happy Birthday song. So then I was like, well, I'm getting to know Nathan pretty well with this podcast. I want to do some lyrics and sing something. And then it turned into a rap, and then it just went from there. So
it was perfect. My favorite line in it is the, now we only have a minute and we're 30 seconds in it. I love that part. It's so great. My wife Alma, the entire rest of the trip after that, she was singing the "Nathan, it's your birthday, happy birthday, Nathan." Like, she just kept singing over and over. Then I was singing it. It's so like catchy. It just gets stuck in your head. It's an earworm. So I think we should play it. Yeah, I think we should play it like right now and then come back, because I think everybody needs to hear this beautiful song that you did.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, I got to put it in this episode of the podcast. Yeah. Yes, it's on our channel. You can find it on my Facebook page, but I think we're talking about right now, it's got to be in this episode.
Yeah,
yes,
so here it is.
I will put it in this episode.
Bam.
Yep.
Get Nathan on the birthday when he's 40. Likes Frankie, likes tea that makes him pee. The horror freak show of Reanimator. Loves craft, witchcraft, and that's no Terminator. I gotta think Tales from the Crypt and the Ring make you scream, dream nightmares of watching the thing. He's 40 years old and his ears are probably ringing, so you know what? I guess I'll start singing. Nathan, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Nathan. Make a wish, but this won't stop. Nathan, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Nathan. Time to party till you drop, but probably not. I only got a minute and we're 30 seconds in it. 40's not old if you're a tree in the forest. You're more like a Yeti than a Tyrannosaurus. I say at your age, but your 40s are just starting. Pretty soon all you do is walk when you're farting. So I hate to break it to you that there's just no hallelujah. There is no advice, it's just part of life. You're trying to get ready for a walker and be done. Hey, 40's not old, so just have a cold one. Nathan, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Nathan. Time to check in, cause it's true. Nathan, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Nathan. Aren't you really 52?
Old Man Shelton, y'all.
That was it. And now we're back. Wasn't that awesome?
had so much fun putting that together.
Dude, did it take
music.
you a long time?
Okay, yeah, I knew we were going to get into this, and it sounds like I'm bragging, but it's just this is what happened. It was like one night, and it took about 3 or 4 hours to come up with the tune
and about 6
most
or 8
of the
beers,
lyrics.
right?
Yes, yeah, and I'm tanking beers and everything because that's part of the video is just have a cold one, and I have a cold one there. But it took about 3 or 4 hours to write. Lyrics and music and everything. And then it was several days of tweaking minor things here and there. And then the funnest part was putting together the video and all the flashes of stuff. It's like, oh, here's Dracula, here's Frankenstein, here's the Reanimator, and all this stuff. All this stuff just flies by, And I was like, man, I just having such a blast doing it. So it was such a great idea that Alma had. I want to keep making more of those, just to make one.
Oh my God, it's great. You're going to start having people like ask for it. You're gonna have to start charging because people are gonna be like, oh, I need a birthday video from my cousin's nephew twice removed or whatever.
Sure, yeah. Give me the info. I'll come up with a melody and put all that stuff in there. It was fun, but and keep it short though. Keep it like a minute, a minute and 30 or something like that. I love that. It's not some kind of long, drawn out thing.
Exactly.
Just bam, 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 done.
Yeah,
so it was,
dude.
Again, such a great idea and had so much fun doing it. So.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you. It really meant a lot, and it's nice to have it out there in the world where people can hear it and share it. So thank you.
Well, and people I went to high school with, I hadn't spoken to in years. They're chiming in about it. There's like getting some people haven't talked to in a while talking to me again. So that was nice to reconnect with a few folks that way.
Awesome. So, yeah. So you're getting more popular because of it. There you go. Using your God-given talents to spread a little birthday cheer into the world, and the universe responds tenfold unto you, my buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I always kind of wanted to be a rock star when I was a kid. Not necessarily a rap star, but
you're on your way.
I don't know.
You're on your way to being a rap star. You could transition to rock.
Having fun. Yeah, sure. Well, and something will go along with that. And while you were in Mexico, I had lots of adventures with 70s and 80s rock. One of the libraries I am working for currently, they're making an album of retro 70s and 80s rock, and I about fainted or hit my head or something when they asked for this. I was like, this is the best thing ever. So they want stuff like Van Halen, old Van Halen, late 70s Van Halen, 1984 Van Halen, that stuff, AC/DC, they want that kind of stuff. I'm just, thank you so much. That's something I've always wanted to do, make instrumental songs like that. Yeah. So I've been having a blast making those the last few weeks, and it's just so much fun.
Are you doing that all digitally, like with a synth, or are you playing? Because you play guitar too, don't you? A little bit, or is that one of the instruments you don't do? Because I know you do so many.
I can play a little guitar, but not near good enough to what I need to do. And the synths or the sampled guitars that I have are close enough. I think I could fool most people. Not real guitar players like, oh, that sucks. What the hell? That's a sample, But I think I could fool most people with synths. So everything's done on the computer with the keyboard with samples, and it's. I've been having a blast with that. So maybe I'll put that in a video too. One of these tracks, retro 80s synth rock. It's fun.
Yeah, man, do it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. So would I be able to use some of that music possibly for like an episode of Frightmare Theater at some point or something?
Oh yeah. I could give it to you, and I tell the guys or tell the companies that, hey, this guy's using this in his podcast, Frightmare Theater podcast. There's no copyright infringement or anything. I gave him permission to use it. Okay. So I've done that many times. So it's in the library, and then it can be licensed.
So then we can put a link. We could put a link in our notes, our show notes, to send people if they want to use that music to the library to get it.
Okay. Right. And it's ideally for, film trailers, TV commercials, promo things. A lot of stuff gets used for that. But I really don't care if it get used or not. I'm having so much fun making them. It's like the happy birthday video. I'm just having so much fun. Right. It's like, I don't, be nice to get some money out of it, but just so much fun just to have the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, man. I think that's awesome. I think that art should be done for you. Like you should be doing art that you love and that you're getting something out of. And if somebody else loves it, even better. If somebody else pays you for it, even better. But you're loving it.
Win-win. Yeah,
you're loving it, and that's awesome. So kick ass, man.
Yeah.
I want to hear it. Send me some links. I would really love to hear it. But I know I've got some episodes coming up that could definitely use something like that for Frightmare. So
sure.
Yeah, it'd be fun to look at.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and a little bit of acting news for myself here. I know you're the actor on the podcast, but I have been cast as an extra pantomiming, playing trombone or violin in a little short film.
Hey, and it's being shot
or maybe
in Los Angeles.
Yeah, or it may be a feature film. I don't know. But a friend of mine is an actress, and she said, and it was on some casting network, something or other. So it's kind of like a bigger movie or something like that. But they need people with instruments to come in and kind of fake it, and whatever they're doing, you're sitting in the middle of an orchestra while they're filming,
nice,
playing stuff. So that'll be on the next episode. My debut as an actor, even though I'm just sitting there pantomiming.
I want to hear all about that. Whenever you do it.
So you're not the only actor on the show here anymore, Nathan. We got two actors now.
I see what you're doing. Well, maybe I'll just start writing some scores and getting those out.
No, man, we already talked about that. You're not I'm the music
guy. You can't
guy.
encroach on my territory and then keep me at bay at going into your territory.
All right, fair enough. But we'll see how this goes. It may be my one and only acting gig ever.
I think that's awesome. I'm excited to hear more about that. I don't think it's your acting debut though, because if I remember right, when we did Dracula, at least one of the times you were in one of the video sequences or something, weren't you? Maybe not.
No.
Maybe not.
I don't. If I was, I don't remember it. But I was also an actor in Clue.
Our very
musical.
first outing together. Right? You did. We mentioned you you had a line too, because we go out to the audience, or not to the audience, but to the orchestra and say something. And what did you say? Do you remember?
Well, I don't remember the exact lines, but the gist of it is, I'm the piano player. I'm right there in front of the stage, okay, and the play is going. It's a musical. It's going on, and they're trying to, just like Clue, the board game. They're trying to figure out who did it with what in what room. They're trying to figure that out.
Devices.
And then it turns out,
do you remember
what?
Everyday Devices.
Everyday Devices. Yeah. All those songs.
I know.
Oh,
we made them. We made them pop a little bit more than they do in the actual score.
I rewrote so much of that
I
stuff.
know.
I rewrote it was a cello part, and I rewrote it for bass, and it was 10 times better. I rewrote so much of the piano stuff because all it was piano, bass, and drums. So it was really just me and the bass player that were had to rewrite stuff, and a drummer, which he can do whatever he wants. So follow the book, not follow the book, whatever. We made it work, and it was a lot better than what was on the page in that one. So anyway, they're trying to figure out who the killer is with what weapon, what room. Turns out I'm Professor Plum, and I'm the killer. And right when they call my name, or it's revealed that I'm Professor Plum, I put on this purple jacket.
I still have the other one.
Okay, and then I stand up and I say, "Yes, I'm Professor Plum," and I did it in the in the kitchen with the revolver, and it was me. And then I sit back down and play the rest of the piano. I gotta tell you, one of the best memories of that was doing it for the state production of it at where was it? Was it in Rolla? Maybe
the state one I think was in. Oh shoot. I didn't think it was in Rolla. I thought it was in not Chillicothe. Where is it? Where's the oh my gosh, I can't even remember this school. It's in one of those smaller Missouri towns, but that it's not Springfield, it's not St. Louis or Kansas City, but it's like one of the bigger, smaller areas. It wasn't in Jeff City, and it wasn't in Rolla.
No.
Maybe it was in Rolla. I don't remember, but I saw it. I was there. Remember. I was there at the stage show.
Yeah. And one of my best memories, because it was so much work, so many hours traveling to doing this thing. And it was all for the kids. The kids were, very successful and got to go to state with this thing, and then got to go to a national thing in Lincoln, Nebraska. But the one at the state level, when I get up and reveal that I'm Professor Plum, roar from the crowd. I mean, they're cheering, screaming for me when I stand up and reveal I'm Professor Plum. I was like, wow, and the whole cast is just kind of standing there waiting for the applause to die down because I got lines. So that was a great memory. And it was like just to get that, vindication after all the hours to put into this thing,
Well, the original production, right? We had 3 casts that we were working with, 2 student casts and a faculty cast, in which because I directed the production, and I also played Professor Plum in the faculty cast. And then and then you guys went on and did it again, remounted it, because some of the people had graduated and state was the next year, but the show made it to state and then made it to nationals, and did quite well. And that was the first, I think, Springfield high school production to make it that far, and go all the way to nationals. It was a big deal, and it was a great production, and a large part of that was you, my friend. It really was.
Well, like I said, we put a lot of time into it, so I think it was well deserved to get the recognition. Yes, it was for the kids, but David Crudwig too, putting in all that time.
Oh my God!
Other parents
I was just getting ready
to
say we should actually have David on the show sometime, because Crudwig is a hilarious guy, and it started out, with you, me, him, and Adam as the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, we called ourselves.
4 horsemen apocalypse.
Yeah, so I think that would be something that would be great, just to have him on and just chat about where life is right now. I know he's got some teenage kids too, or preteen kids, and and is still rocking out as a high school theater teacher. And that's a hard gig, man. That's a hard gig, and not everybody can do that. I mean, you did the music, teacher gig for a while, and that wasn't for you. And I've never done. For a little tiny bit in college, I was an education major, but man, I couldn't do it. So
it takes a lot. It takes a lot. If you really love it, you really love doing that. More power to it. People like Dave that stuck with it. But 8 years in, I'd had enough. Yeah. So, but there's lots of good memories, and
you got out before you absolutely hated it. So like you got out when you still enjoyed it enough to have good memories.
Right. Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, he would be a good person to have on sometime. So maybe we'll get him on the show at some point.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Be good to catch up with him, just like Daryl. Just hadn't talked to him in a long time, just see what's up. So
yeah, there's some of our other buddies out there in Los Angeles that I'd love to get on the show that worked on other stage productions like Dracula with us, or Night of the Living Dead. You were gone for Night of the Living Dead when we did it. We did a stage comedy version called Night of the Living Dead Undead on Stage, which was like a play within a play. And it was, I wrote this version of it because that's public domain material, and it was a lot of fun. Oh my God. Another show we sold out like every single night for. Just a ton of fun. And some of those, actually a lot of that cast, if they didn't move to Los Angeles, they're here in Chicago. And one of my good buddies who played Baron von Rotten, who's kind of the host of the show, he's like a young Bill Murray, one of the funniest people on stage, Drew Dively. He's getting ready to move here to Chicago, and I'm dying to get him on the show so we could talk. I don't know if you remember seeing any videos of him or anything, but he was quite good. I wish you could have been there for that, because you wrote all the supplemental music for that show, and it made the show. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember writing some music for you, and I was like, "Well, no, just glad to work with you some more and sing you some music and help out the show if I can." And it did, so that was great. Yeah. And it brings back all the memories, like going back in there and listening to some of those things. Like everything I go back and listen to, like, holy crap, I remember making that now, but it doesn't click in my mind until I listen to it. Like you're just talking about it now, I'm like, I'm a little fuzzy on that. But as soon as I listen to it, then I'll remember like all these other things about it. Yeah. So and that's happened quite a bit.
Yeah, it's like the Dracula soundtrack too that we've talked about on other shows. The music, the score you wrote for that is the entire score. And you wrote 2 different versions, because originally, you were very hands-on. Then you had already moved to Los Angeles when we mounted the show again in 2008. And that version, the music was even tighter. And we still used some of the music from the first time, but we kind of did a conglomeration. Wow. Oh, that score, so good, so powerful. And sometimes I get something in my head and I'm like, God, that sounds just like Dracula, and it still gets me flooded with emotion a lot of the just from watching the performances every night. And so amazing.
I love being a composer, moving here. It's really what I love doing the most. But there's something about doing stuff like Clue and doing stuff like Dracula, where it's a live performance. The live stage. I was never, I just had little actor parts, with the Professor Plum thing. But I was always sitting in front of the stage, in the pit. I helped out Springfield Little Theater bunch. We did Tommy. That was a blast.
Yeah.
Oh. That was a blast, and that was one of the best bands, one of the best pit orchestras. It was really a rock band, but it was one of the best group of musicians I'd ever played with in Springfield or ever since then. Everybody was on it. It was so good. And what was another one? Of course, we did Joseph and Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. That sold out. That always sells out. But that was a lot of fun, and another really great band with that one. So, but that live stuff, I do miss that a bit.
Yeah, I'm still trying. So. Okay, I've got this great idea to turn, for what we're doing with Frightmare Theater, the other podcast that I run, that is essentially, it's a horror radio theater show, right? It is a horror anthology radio show, like the old shows that you would have listened to back in the day, back in like the 40s and the 50s. Although it is modernized in its storytelling structure, it's more like a horror host program. Like you're listening to the host of the show, who I voice, is Dr. Necropolis, and Dr. Necropolis will always come out with some goofy shtick before the show, introduce the episode, and then follow it back up with some cheesy one-liners at the end, and then we close out the episode. So it's a mix between the old radio days, Tales from the Crypt and the Twilight Zone, and then in the middle of it, you are listening to a highly produced, very professional, balls to the wall kind of audio production. So where it's like you're listening to a movie. So we want the audience to be able to, what we say in the beginning is turn down the lights and turn up the terror. That's us tagline, so that we get everybody's focus. And if you can listen to it when you're not at work, if you're driving alone at night and you turn that volume all the way up in your car, or if you're watching it on YouTube at home, or something, someplace where you can either have a headset or you have good surround sound. We have full immersive audio going on at all times in that show, specifically to take you away and give you a good scare or a funny story from time to time. And I'm wanting to turn that into a touring live radio show where we do 3 stories, and it has music interludes and stuff like that. So might pull you in to travel with us, and because I want to go to LA and do it, and do a live stage version where the host and everything are puppets. And then we're mixing sounds live, we're mixing audio live, and then they have the radio theater people, and we actually program lights and do a light show with with other elements. So it's part multimedia, part live radio show, part puppetry, that's the kind of stuff I like, is blending all those things together and creating something that's truly innovative, and we can go around to cons and festivals and stuff. That's one of the things I'm developing in my brain right now.
Oh, I think that would be super successful. Come on, people love that stuff. I would think.
Any horror fan.
And I got to tell you, I've listened to almost all the episodes of Frightmare Theater, and every single one, it's just what you're saying. It is so cinematic. I get all these pictures in my head about what's going on and what it looks like. Probably not what you think, but everything you get into it, I'm just like, whoa! It is so. I can't think of a better word. It's so cinematic. It's just, it immerses you and makes you forget about what's going on everywhere else. Because some of it's pretty terrifying. Some of these voice actors you have, yourself, your performance, it really engages you. And it makes you start thinking, like, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? It's not predictable.
Yeah. Well, and it starts with the writers.
Stuff like that.
I do too. I really do. And it starts with the writers, and we pull in. My team of writers that we have on the show, it is, they're people, Bryan, that we've worked with, since forever. Most of us are from Missouri, but we're all over the place now because we've got Sean Young on the writing staff. He's out there in LA with you. Drew Dively's in Kansas City right now, getting ready to move here to Chicago. We had Fee from Chicago. We've got more Springfield people. Heath Hillhouse is a writer on the show, and Andy McMurtry, all these guys that we've worked with forever. Brittany Greer is an amazing amazing horror writer and director out of Springfield, who I think horror audiences are getting ready to see some amazing stuff from her. She's growing and growing. She's got a new feature out that she's written. I think it's called Halloween, just called, no, it can't be called Halloween. It's like, I don't even remember what it's called. It's a slasher movie, but it's not called Halloween. I don't remember, but it's getting ready to come out, soon. They're shooting it right now, actually. So I don't know if they're in post or what, but yeah, so we pull in all these great writers and we develop this stuff together in regular Zoom calls because we're all over the place. And then if we can, I always go to Missouri multiple times a year, and we try to book out time to do like 2 full day recordings for these episodes. And we call in all these people. And then we have regular voice actors that are professional people working on Broadway right now in this season. We have family members that are professional actors and good friends. I have Lisa Murphy, who I don't know if you actually met her, but she's my Irish friend. She's actually moved back to Ireland. She's an amazing actress, an amazing voice actress, and she does a lot of stuff for us still from over in Ireland. And that's the great part about being able to record. I mean, if you have a good home studio or you can go into a studio, we get top-notch talent all giving their time to the show because we all believe in what we're trying to do. We get it out there, and then it takes a long time. It takes me about a month to edit every single episode of constant work because I'm very anal retentive about, this, as a director and as a producer. I want it to be as perfect as possible. And I try to listen. As I'm developing the audio landscape, I'm trying to piece it together and picture in my mind exactly where we are. And sometimes I have to get onto my writers because I'm like, guys, stop putting so many locations. Stop putting, these complex stories, they're killing me. It takes me forever to edit some of this shit because they've got, everybody's got, and then this happens. And I've got this great idea. And so I've been like, let's scale it down a bit. All right. Let's make just a few characters this time. Let's have a good old drawing room mystery or ghost story. Let's do something like that. But there's still sometimes that I'm like 9 or 10 different locations, and we've got to get into that auditorially. That's been the coolest challenge. And I say coolest, not like biggest or worst, is we're all film writers. Most of us are film writers. Some of us were novelists before. And so we're used to writing in a visual medium. And we had to switch our brains and go, okay, how can I tell this story auditorily? How can I take that listener with us on this journey and get them enveloped in it without any visuals whatsoever? And it is not always easy. And sometimes we argue about that in our writing meetings. But, and then, of course, we have a great composer, another good friend of mine, who I've worked with since you had moved on and doing all this bigger things. Somebody else from Missouri, my buddy Chris and his girlfriend Allison, great composers, and they created the theme for Frightmare, and they do the majority of the music on the show right now. Every once in a while, I'll have my brother's band on the show, or I'll use something of yours from the past that we've worked on, and actually, Meet Me in the Shadows from Shadowbound, the song that you and I worked on together that you wrote, which is amazing. It's this great 1930s piece that is in an episode playing on the radio, and stuff.
Excellent.
Like that.
Love that song. Yeah.
Oh man, me too. That was a big hit when the show came out, and then he did all those weird versions of it, like morphing.
It kept getting grainier and kept getting more staticky. And I had this plugin. You could add electronic hum to it.
Oh.
And then I think we're altering some pitch and too, the audio
it starts
is degrading.
To slow down. Well, also
time.
The record player is slowing down.
Yeah. There's a problem with the record player. There's a problem with the audio, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. It's the same song, but the quality of the audio kept deteriorating throughout the episodes. That was a creepy thing by the end. It was really weird by the end. So
by the very end, it just had that shh.
Right. Yeah. It was like a skipping record.
And there was no more audio. It was like, and I think people that listen to it and watch the credits to the end, that I got lots of feedback on that, on how they loved that progression. But I didn't tell you this, Brian, but actually, when I went to Mexico, I was looking for some stuff to do in between some of my projects, and I started re-editing the film version of Shadowbound. So,
All right.
so getting that together, I'm keeping the time signature the same because you rescored the damn thing again, the whole movie. But there's some dialogue in there that luckily, since it's a silent movie, I can change out the dialogue. I can make it anything I want. And I'm doing a few rewrites on it. I'm using alternate takes that we had that I still have, to give some side characters a little bit more oomph, make those stronger B and C plots in it. We are going to reshoot this summer. We are going to reshoot an entirely new opening credit sequence and some of the monster scenes now that I'm, a better filmmaker and a better makeup artist than I was back then. God, how long ago was that? 2012, 13 when we shot the 14, I think.
Oh.
2014 is when it came out.
Okay.
But
right.
2013, I think, is when we made it. 2013, yeah. But anyway, it's been a bit, and I think we can do a little bit better. So I've been going back through and re-editing it, and we're going to pull it off of the YouTube, the series, and re-release it as a movie and seek distribution. So I'm very excited about it. I think it has some strong legs. It was such an amazing experience making it, and I think I'm excited to get it out this next year.
Oh man, that's such a great idea. I always wanted, had a great time working on that thing. It should be out there, maybe on one of the streaming services at least, for people to watch and enjoy. Absolutely. And everything. It's such a great thing. And I had a blast. I keep saying this. I have a blast on everything I work with you, but I had a blast working on that too because it's all the old timey music and you can really go wild with it.
Yeah,
and
man.
Your notes and everything was like more, go crazier, go more. And like I'm always. Because most of the time they're telling, the director or whoever's, no, not so much music, not so much activity. Not the case on this one, because you got a silent movie here, and the music can be crazy because there's no other audio. So. Yeah, so love working on Shadowbound. That's such an exciting thing that you're revisiting it, reworking it, reshooting the opening. Man, that's. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah. Well, when we did it before, we wanted to do we were trying to do a movie version, and we had re-edited, moved some things around. You rescored it. We did some changes with the title cards, but the credit sequence we kind of had to throw together just with footage that we already had. But it was eating away at me for years, actually. I need to get back in there. I want to tell a little bit more of the story beyond what, a web series can do for a movie, and make it a little bit grander of a scale. And so I finally, after mulling it over for a long time and going through a lot of stuff, I was like, okay, I'm ready. I think I'm ready to actually get in there and do this. I've spoken with some people, some cinematographer friends. Unfortunately, we won't be able to bring Dan Smiley back from Los Angeles to do reshoots on it just because the funds aren't there. But we've got some killer talent back in Missouri, back home, and it's a small. It takes place in a small town setting, and so we're going to go back and do some reshoots at my at the house that we shot in. And some stuff like that. So I'm reworking that, figuring that out. I'm over halfway through the movie right now, doing edits on the title cards and changing around a few things here and there, but very happy with it. And it's so much fun to go back and watch it again. So, but we are taking it down off of YouTube. So anybody that wants to check it out, you got to get on there soon and watch it. You can watch the original incarnation of the show before the movie version will be released at some point in the near future.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. Jeez, that's going to be awesome. You need me to redo some stuff. I still got all the files here on one of my drives, so.
I would hate to ask you to do it all again, but it might be fun for you, but.
Not all of it, but maybe a few things here and there might need to be redone. That'd be fun to revisit. Yeah, just like you're doing, it'd be fun to revisit it musically as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you might be able to redo the front end of it, actually, the opening credit sequence, when I get it, because I was going to try to time it out to the music you already put in there, because you redid it for the movie version.
Right.
But, and it's very exciting, but I might shoot beyond that, like shoot a sequence that might be beyond what the music is that we currently have, so maybe you can go on.
I'll do it. I have a blast doing that. That's so much fun, man.
Awesome.
Yeah. lots of good stuff we've done. And another thing, we're talking about live theater and doing things live. One other thing that I've done out here, and I didn't do it till I was here in Los Angeles, that I've had more fun with music than in theater as well. I was trying to find some gigs playing piano because wasn't a whole lot of composing gigs when I got here. I mean, I had Family Guy going, but when the season's off, there's no work. And so I was trying to find piano gigs to play for. And it was kind of stupid and irresponsible, but I found one on Craigslist. And they advertised it. We need a piano player that likes Whose Line Is It Anyway? We're an improv comedy troupe, and we want you to audition for that. It was like we're looking for piano players. And I was like, oh boy, Craigslist, you never know what you're going to get. It's I hesitated to do it, but I was like, man, that looks like a lot of fun. So I clicked on it, and I sent them a message, and they were right over there in Burbank. And I went over to the guy's house, brought a keyboard, and had so much fun doing that with this group. They were called the Mutiny. That was the name of their comedy troupe. We played little tiny theaters around, kind of like the Vandervoort, little tiny theaters like that. We did it just like Whose Line Is It Anyway? They're improv and stuff, getting suggestions from the audience. I'm making up songs. They're singing songs. Such a blast. And I got to tell you, you're a real funny guy. I know a lot of funny people. These guys, I couldn't even play sometime. I was laughing so hard and my stomach hurt and like bent over laughing and trying to play a song or whatever. It's like I couldn't do it sometimes because they're so damn funny.
That's awesome.
Had such a blast playing for them. And then, and as things do, people kind of moved on and moved away. But the one guy, the main guy, Curtis, he's your doppelganger here in Los Angeles. He doesn't look exactly like you, but he's kind of like you, actor and writer and does all this stuff. So I want to have him on. We can talk about this stuff, and I know you two will hit it off because you're kind of the same type of guy. But he was kind of the leader of the group and kind of got it all organized and everything. And super funny guy, off the cuff, just so good at improv. And he's a great writer and an actor too. So,
awesome. I'd love to meet him.
Made me think of playing live stuff because all I do is bring a little keyboard and sit there and play. And my first instinct was, I'm going to do all this cool jazz stuff and really complicated chords and chord structure and chord voicings and everything. And the first couple of times they're kind of like, can you simplify it a little bit? So then it kind of became real simple stuff, chord progressions, And then the singing came easier, and then they didn't have to worry about doing some kind of elaborate melody or something like that. But I was trying to show off or something stupid, so it was kind of it was totally my fault, And they called me on it. I was like, no, just simplify it, And then they caught on, and that made the songs even better because who cares what the chords are? It's more about the lyrics and the coming up with things. And some of them are a couple of them are actually pretty good singers, So it's not only they're coming up with funny lyrics and everything, that's actually a pretty good voice singing these stupid songs. They're not stupid, they're funny songs. But that was a lot of love doing that. But and I'm still in contact with him. I've made some films with him, short films with him over the years. And every once in a while he'll call up and just say, hey, what you doing? We'll just chat for a while and reminisce like we do about stuff. So he's a good guy.
That's great. Yeah, let's bring him on the show. Curtis,
Yeah, Curtis Bedford. He might listen. So you'll get on one of these times, Curtis.
You'll never know when. We'll just call you out of the blue.
Yeah, it'll be like 5 minutes before we start. Yeah, get your camera, get your mic. Let's go.
When you said Burbank, I just have to mention this. I don't know why, but I keep thinking about it. When you said Burbank, and I always think this every time I hear Burbank, I have some friends who live in Burbank. And when you were, I know you're a little older than me, not much, but a little bit older than me. And when I was a kid, we watched this, we had this VHS tape because those existed. And we watched this VHS tape called The Great Bear Scare. And I don't know if any of you listeners out there know what I'm talking about. The Great Bear Scare. And it was one of those kind of like, it's like a storybook, I think, like what they used to do on Reading Rainbow, where they would take a storybook like Abiyoyo or something, and then they would kind of animate it to where it was like a still picture, but then it had like a morph kind of animation. So it was kind of jumpy a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like that, like where it's like it would morph and fade into like a few different versions of it. So like if somebody's running, it was like 3 different animations instead of being very smooth like an actual cartoon. So it was probably cheaply made, or it was just a book and they were trying to do something different with the style. But it had monsters in it, so I was there. I loved it. Yeah. And my brother and I watched it all the time. And it's about like this bear and this like town, I don't know, this like group of, if I remember right, bears that were going up against these monsters, and Dracula is the head of all the monsters, right? And he's going to open up, and he hears about Bearbank, which is where they live in Bearbank, and he's like, Bearbank. And so he thinks that it's, I don't know. I that's where I very first heard of Burbank. And so I was like, every time I hear that, I always go right back to that cartoon. And that cartoon had a very big effect on me when I was a kid. Like, I used to be able to recite it from memory. I knew it so well. It's one of those, but it was an early thing. So it would have had to have come out in like the mid 80s, like I'm guessing it's probably 85, 86. I'll have to look it up. But the Great Bear Scare, I didn't know if anybody else out there, maybe you listeners, I'll tell you what, listeners, if you know what the hell I'm talking about anytime, but no, this time in particular, if you know what I'm talking about with with the Great Bear Scare, will you please send us an email on our website or something? Like, just let me know that I'm not crazy and that this isn't part of the whole fucking Mandela effect or something that never existed. I want to know that I'm not existing in an alternate plane of reality. Please let me know if you saw and loved or hated the Great Bear Scare. And if anybody can find that on YouTube, hell yeah, give it a look.
We want to know. Yeah, now we got to find out. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know we were talking about things we've created together, but I just you mentioned Burbank, and all I kept hearing in my head is Bearbank. Yeah,
Bear Scare, Burbank.
The Great Bear Scare. And Dracula looks so cool in that.
Oh yeah. The only thing I think of when I think Burbank, I remember that The Price is Right was filmed there, and so it's like, oh, it's Burbank, California. I was like, oh, that's where Price is Right is. So that's what I always think when I hear Burbank. I don't know why. Stupid
Price is wrong, bitch. Remember that? Happy Gilmore?
Oh yeah.
When he punches him out.
And he's
from Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah, and he learned how to fight from Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris taught
America how to fight.
Chuck Norris taught Bob Barker how to fight. And so I remember there's some behind the scenes thing saying, oh, we can put a stunt double in for you. And he's like, no, I know how to fight. I know how to throw punches and stuff, and he's, I don't know, however old he was at the time, still.
930. Yeah.
Yes. At least. If he's not over 1,000. Yeah.
Do people even say Chuck Norris jokes anymore? That used to be a thing. I remember.
I don't know.
That used to be a big thing, all those Chuck Norris jokes, but I don't know if that's a thing anymore. My favorite one was when Chuck Norris, I don't know, did you know, it's not even did you know that when Chuck Norris walks into the ocean, he doesn't get wet, the ocean gets Chuck Norrised? It's so stupid, but I love it.
Yeah. Of course you get Chuck Norris. Yes.
You're right. It just gets me caught off guard. Ugh.
I me think of that every time I hear Chuck Norris's name.
Yeah. I think of the movie Sidekicks too, with Jonathan Brandis. God rest his soul. What a great actor.
Yeah, that one, and then Dodgeball. He's one of the judges in the movie Dodgeball.
Chuck Norris is?
Yeah. Oh. And they're like trying to vote, like there's a deciding vote whether they go to sudden death, and they have to give a thumbs up, and now the deciding vote is Chuck Norris, and he just gives a thumb up. And then Vince Vaughn goes, and thank you, Chuck Norris. It's just another stupid joke.
But real funny Yeah.
Real funny cameo though. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. I totally didn't know that. I did not know that. It's been a while since I've seen that movie, but.
Oh boy. Well, yeah. We can talk a little bit about Chuck Norris, man. You never know where the conversation goes here. This show. So.
Oh right. We've gone back and forth from Bearbank to things we did together while working in Missouri to Chuck Norris and the ocean. We've incorporated the ocean. because it's all over the place. Mexico. When I was in Mexico, by the way, I did get to go to the Island of the Dolls, the haunted Island of the Dolls. Well, I'll tell you. So I found we were going to a place, Xochimilco, I think is what it's called. And it's actually in Mexico City, but it's, kind of to the side, and there's all these canals. They call them canals. It's more like rivers. I mean, it's like full rivers. It's not like it's built-in canals. Part of it is. And you get on these boats. You can rent these big, like, party boats, basically. They're kind of like, pontoon kind of boats, and they've got, long tables and chairs, so you can get a huge group of people. You can get like 20 some odd people on these boats, right? And there's a guy that has a big long stick, and he puts it in the water, and he just pushes your boat down the rivers. And you can you basically pay for like an hour at a time, and it's cheap. And it's fun. And a lot of people go there and just get trashed and dance. And they bring out speakers and put on their boats, and they're like dancing and partying. You can get food out on the water. There's vendors on the water that are like coming by with like pulque, which is a very awesome fermented drink from the, maguey plant. And it's kind of thick. There's different flavors. I like it. Some people do not like it because it is an interesting drink, but it is the oldest drink in all of Mexico as far as alcoholic beverages. It predates mezcal. It predates tequila. It's pulque. It was the very first. It's very easy to make, I guess, compared to those. They just
Is it from the agave plant, like tequila?
Yeah, it's from the maguey plant, which is
different plant.
Yeah, it's similar though. I mean, they're all like kind of giant, like succulent kind of plants, right? But this one, the Aztecs used to drink this shit, and it's
it's
great.
Got to be good then.
It's great. It's great. Yeah, because their civilization did so well. But that's thanks to the bastard Spanish that came in. That's a great drink. They have that, and people are selling beers, and they're selling all sorts of food out there and everything. But you can buy a bunch of food before you go out. There's all these vendors, and they're yelling at you. Like, you go up and they're like, ah, like trying to get you to pay attention to them. But when they yell at you, you're just kind of like, I don't want to pay attention to you. Like, I'm okay. I'm going to go over here. Like, stop yelling at me, man. But you get the food, you go out on the boat. You pay by the hour, and you can decide where you want to go in their whole network of things. And you just tell the tour guide, this is where I want to go. Well, so my wife and I, again, I'm the only like really non-Spanish speaker. I speak a little Spanish, but mi español es muy poquito. And so Alma always translates for me. But Alma's mother and our good friend, Yadira, we all were on the boat. So just the four of us with the boat, the Nico, the boat driver, I guess you'd say, the boat pole man. And we said we wanted to go to
the boat.
Yeah, we wanted to go to this island because when we were talking about going here, I'm like, yeah, that's good. It was my birthday weekend. And I'm like, this will be fun to be out on the water. They're covered boats too. So you're in the shade. You're not in direct sunlight. So it's perfect. It's not bad at all. And it's usually pretty cool out on the water. It's loud because there are hundreds of people out there. So your boat, we ran into people multiple times. Boats are crashing into each other. It's insane in the main part. But when we were talking about going, Alma mentioned, and that's where the that doll island is. And I'm like, what? Because I have seen on YouTube and on like Nature Channel or Discovery Channel and stuff, Travel Network, all these shows that are like, in the remote like rivers of Mexico lies a little remote island, and it's like forgotten by time, and where all these dolls are hanging from the trees, and it's a haunted island. There's a ghost story and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh shit, this is awesome. And I want to go there someday. And I had no idea it was in Mexico City. I thought it was like someplace else in Mexico. Well, everybody's like, raves about this thing. There's like a whole multiple shows do it, and they always go out at night, and it's only like one boat, and it's like they've got a flashlight and they're walking around, and you see all these dolls, and they're like, it's it's like all scary and jumpy, and And it's completely fabricated. So you get out there, and so we were like, okay, let's go. Let's go to this. And you have to pay extra to go because it takes, like, all in all, the boat ride, it's like 3 hours to get there and back on the water. And it took us even longer. We were on the boat for like 5 hours because we had to wait in line to get to the other channel, because when your boat goes up to this, you go up to this lift where your boat gets parked on this giant crane thing. You get off and you walk up and down, and it gets picked up over a highway and taken down onto the other side of the water. And then when you're put down, it goes, then you get back in your boat and it goes down through a whole other very large, very natural area of rivers. And it's separate from the main party area, right? And so you do go, it's hardly remote though. And so you go out and there's all these wonderful houses and farms and everything that go right up to the water, all these families that have boats and all these businesses that are selling pulque and beer and, all sorts of stuff. I can't even, I'm trying to think of some of the names of some of these things that they're selling, but it's amazing. You get out there and it's pretty calm and beautiful and everything, and quiet. It's a lot quieter on this part. You see some boats, but, and you get closer to the island and you're like, okay, it's not remote. Like, you're by farms, you see businesses on the side, people selling, melons and all sorts of stuff that you can go and stop. There's bathrooms all along the way, so that if you need to park your boat and everybody needs to get out and go to the bathroom, you pay, like 4 pesos or whatever to go to the bathroom. So you get up there and there's so many boats there. There are so many people on this, and it's really not an island. It's a part of land that has a little river, like a little stream that goes around it. So it technically, I guess, is an island because there is a stream with bridges that go to the mainland, but it's not really an island. But there's dolls everywhere, and it's a tourist attraction. And they're taking,
I was going to say,
yeah, man, they're taking money to get in. A family runs it, and you go onto the, so I was already like, oh, come on, man, this is not remote. It's like, on the Travel Network, it's always in a remote island in the south of Mexico City or wherever. And you're like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And you get there and it's just like, it's like a poor man's Disneyland or something. So you go and, the dolls are creepy, and I got some great photos, but I was a little let down, to be honest. And Jadira, who was with us, she was pissed because she had heard all this stuff about it. She'd never been there. She was just like the whole time, like, oh my God, she was not happy. And, but I would say it was fun. We got some pictures taken, together, and got a lot of cool pictures of the island. And then they take you into this like little hut, and they kind of tell you about the island. And Alma's, of course, like whispering to me in English what they're saying in Spanish. And Tim Burton had gone there, and he donated a doll, because people keep donating dolls to this island, so they can just keep having new dolls. The original story goes that there was a guy, and there was a little girl who had gone and got drowned, and her doll, I guess, washed up on shore, and he started seeing a ghost. And he lived on the island kind of by himself and kind of farmed over there. And so to keep her ghost at bay, he hung up her doll, and they still have that original doll there. It's in the hut. And then after that, and if I remember right, that doll's kind of like a, it almost looks like a Victorian doll, if I'm right. It wasn't in the Victorian. I mean, this happened in like the 50s, I think, or the 60s. But after he did that, I think he stopped seeing the girl's ghost or something. And so, but that story has gotten relayed and blown up and completely changed around and stuff. But there are people in the area that will tell you various versions of the story, and people that claim to know the real man that did live there. They have his picture up in the hut, and they'll tell you, what he used to tell them about it. But it does relate to a real ghost story. It is technically, supposedly a real haunted island. I believe in ghosts, so I'm like, okay, cool. But it's turned into a very kind of gimmicky, thing. It's still worth the trip. It's not expensive to go. It is, the boat ride in and of itself, just to get there and back, is so much fun, and it's so beautiful. So I still recommend it, but it was a little bit of a letdown if you're expecting the remote island in the side of Mexico City. Then you're not going to be happy.
I was ready for some kind of Mexican voodoo, some kind of ancient tale or something like that with the dolls and things.
No.
When you told me the name of the place,
Right.
I was like, oh man, this is gonna be good. But then it's turned out, oh no, we're just trying to be Disneyland down
Yeah,
here.
well,
So.
and I told my kids I was going to go, and they're like, "Why are you going there? Oh my God, don't go there!" Because all the videos on the travel networks and stuff, they always make it look creepy, and they don't even let you go there at night. They won't let you go there at night. I mean, around Dia de los Muertos, they will do like an evening kind of a tour thing, but at night it's actually kind of dangerous. Our guide and the guy that was doing the boat, he said that it's dangerous out there at night because there's not a lot of people and it's really quiet and dark. And so people get accosted, murdered, raped, robbed out there because there's bandits that can go easily sneak out there and get people, because people do try to sneak out to that island and try to go at night and stuff, or just are on the water at night, and it's really easy. So it's just dangerous. I mean, Mexico City is just like any other big city, except it's like 5 times the size of Chicago or something. It's the 5th largest city in the entire world. It's massive. Mexico City is massive, and there's amazing things, and different sides of the city it's such a mix of cultures and from all over Mexico and America too. I mean, they've got a lot of American things there too, but it's a great city. Every time I go, it's like a second home to me now. Whenever I go to visit Alma, I love it there. I really do. It's very comfortable. Even though I don't speak Spanish very well, it's very comfortable for me. We have a home. We have an apartment there in an area called Tlalnepantla, which is it's kind of hard to say. There's a lot of vowels in it, and not a lot of a lot of consonants and not a lot of vowels. Tlalnepantla, and that's a pre-Hispanic word, from the native people there. The people like the Aztec and people that were there long before the Spanish came and made it their own. So, but yeah, Tlalnepantla, we have a great apartment, and it's such a nice neighborhood that we live in there. And oh my God, everything is just amazing. Everything's right there, right around the corner. Good food, good places to shop and stuff. So
yeah, you always rave about that, and I've always wanted to go, but the language barrier. I mean, I just know a couple of words. I would need someone like Alma there.
Well, come and visit
what
us.
Is he really saying? What are they really saying?
Come sometime when we're there, and or have another friend who speaks Spanish and can help. It's nice, and there are certain areas that you can go to, absolutely, where you don't have to worry about the language barrier. That they deal with a lot of Americans and tourists in general that speak English or speak other languages. And yeah.
I was going to ask you, I mean, how, bilingual are most people there, particularly in the city?
Not a lot, honestly. I mean,
Not a lot.
And that's one of the things. It's like, sometimes I come across people, the people in Mexico are warm and friendly and family oriented and outgoing and just wonderful, beautiful people. And so nice, and they share so much. And, it's not a wealthy country. There's they're not. So the American dollar goes a long way there, which is nice when I go, because it's like, oh wow, I feel like I'm a lot richer than I am. Here in Chicago, it's like I'm pinching pennies to make rent, right? But there, you can go and stretch that a lot farther. But, sometimes I come across people and I feel like they feel bad that they don't speak English, and I'm like, absolutely not. Why would you speak English? This is your country. I feel bad that I don't speak Spanish. I should speak more Spanish being here. But most people are so nice to me when I say to them, Alma's always with me when I go out. There's very few times that I've gone out by myself to go do things like buy some tortillas, and I had to remember exactly what to say and have the exact change in my hand and everything. Alma's like, go get this. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I always tell people, lo siento, mi español es muy poquito. Mi esposa hablas inglés y español. So it's like she translates everything for me, and I have to, and most people, when I say, I'm so sorry that I don't speak Spanish very well, they're also like, well, I'm sorry, I don't speak English very well. And then we have that kind of laughter and that common ground. And, you can still communicate with people. And I think you communicate even better sometimes. Sometimes language gets in the way, common language, because we take that for granted. I think that's one of the greatest things about Alma and mine's relationship, is that throughout all the years, the multiple years now we've been together, we can't take we can't take communication for granted like other people, like two English speakers or two Spanish speakers. We fight a little bit harder to communicate because, if I speak too fast or if she speaks too fast, sometimes it's like, well, what did you say? And I think it makes you work a little harder. It makes you respect that other person and the language that they're trying to do, how they're trying to communicate to you even more. So it's nice.
Yeah. I've lived in Los Angeles 16 years. Lo siento. I was like, I know what that is. I'm just a few. I could not carry on a conversation. I really regret not learning a language, not working harder at it in high school to learn a second language. Because I do feel bad that I don't, live in Los Angeles. There's so many Spanish speakers here, bilingual people too. But I was like, I can't carry on a conversation with anybody with Spanish. I feel bad, because there's a lot of Mexicans.
Right.
There.
And there are here in Chicago too. And actually, my neighborhood is there's a very Hispanic presence here. And my kid's school, it's like 90% Hispanic Latino. Latinx.
Wow.
And so there's a lot of people of different cultures here. And, I've been learning Spanish on Duolingo. I love it. I think Duolingo is a great app. The only problem, and I don't know why this is the case, but they don't have Latin Spanish on Duolingo. They only have, Castilian, Spain Spanish, which is different. They have a different way of speaking.
Right.
There's a more formal kind of way of speaking. It's flowerier. Like Alma heard me the very first time I went to Mexico. She heard me doing my little lesson at night, and she was like laughing at me. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm learning Spanish." And she was like, "Oh no, you're not." And she was like, "Don't do that." She's like, "Don't do that. If you talk like that, people are gonna make fun of you. They'll make fun of you more than if you spoke English and didn't speak Spanish." So I was like, whatever. But Duolingo is still, I think, the best. Even if you have just the free version, it is still the best app out there. It's all game based. So you're like, learning Spanish via these little games. You don't have to pay for it, but if you pay for it, you get extra stuff. And highly recommend Duolingo. Get it today.
I'll check it out.
It's very easy, and you could just do it even if you did it like 10 minutes a day, just 10 minutes a day, you'll start to pick up things very quickly. And then I can understand when people are talking from contextual clues and things. I can understand more what people are saying than being able to actually speak to them. Like if somebody's saying something to me, usually if they're not speaking very quickly, I can kind of understand what they're saying and either respond or get Alma to help me. But yeah, so after a while you do pick it up, and my Spanish gets better every time I go. I've never had a problem really communicating with her family. They don't speak English. They speak about as much English as I speak Spanish. Her sister speaks a little English, and my two new nephews, they know some words, and so they'll be like, "How cool," or something like that, like, "Hey, uncle."
Well, and another thing that you mentioned how great the people are there. Another podcast I listened to, this guy was on vacation with his family in Mexico, and he was just going on and on about the level of hospitality when he stays at hotels. And he's really well off, and he stays at the nicer hotels and everything. He says the hospitality in Mexico, every time he goes vacation there a lot too. He says it is off the charts. It doesn't even compare to even the best hotel. He's been in all the best hotels all over the world. He says Mexico City, the hospitality level and the care that workers have for their jobs is nowhere. There's nowhere else like that in the world, according to this guy. And I just, you're saying the same things. I just makes me want to go more and just see it and just hang out there for a while, even though I don't speak Spanish. Yeah, so I always want to go to Mexico. I definitely take you up on the offer next time you're there. So, I think we got to wrap it up here, Nathan. Another exciting episode. So glad to be on the show again and have you back. Many more episodes to come, everyone, and we'll see you next time.